Okay. So, first question, what is a good method for managing your money throughout life?
A good method for managing money would be don't ever spend any more than what you have. Don't put too much on your credit card. Try to pay your credit card off every month. You don't want to pay the interest. Just things like that, and always save.
All right.
Always put some in savings.
Yeah, I've
I
definitely
just
heard about
retired,
that.
and it did pay off very well.
That's good.
So,
All right. Second one, how do you know when you have found the love of your life?
how do you know? Oh my goodness. I think, not that I dated a lot of people before your grandpa. We started dating when we were in high school, or when I was a senior actually, and I think I just knew it was him. He was always very nice. I think he got those qualities from his dad, seeing how he treated his mom, and he was just a good guy. So that's how I knew.
All right.
I fell in love with him. So
Yeah, I didn't know you guys were in high school when that
we
happened.
were seniors in high school when we started dating.
Oh, that's cool. Third one, how do you know for sure this is it was the job that you want to do for a living?
Well, I started in the medical field at the hospital, our local hospital, Mercer Health.
Mm.
Back then it was Mercer County Community Hospital. And I worked there out of high school for 5 years. I love the medical field. I did a lot of different things at the hospital. Then we bought a restaurant, and I knew I did not want to do that the rest of our life. So we had that for 10 years. We did very well at the restaurant, but it was a lot of work,
Stollies,
especially
right?
with the kids. Yes.
Yeah.
Its name was Stollies.
Yeah.
And it was a big restaurant. It wasn't just a little bar type sandwich place. I mean, not like I was told it was going to be when we bought the restaurant by
Right.
my husband. And his dad always managed a restaurant in our hometown. So when he was younger, so that's something that your grandfather, my husband, always wanted to do. So we
Right.
did it for 10 years, and we did very well. We built our house, paid our house off in 10 years. So we did very well, but we didn't have much of a life with the kids at that time. So,
That's right.
And your dad was the oldest.
Because he worked there a lot, right?
He worked there as he got older, toward the last couple of years probably. He was a dishwasher, and he was probably maybe 10 or 11 years old, something like that.
Okay.
So I did not want to do that the rest of my life. So that's when, after we sold the restaurant, I tried babysitting. Knew I didn't want to do that. So actually an old coworker of mine, who I used to work at the hospital with prior to that, called me and asked me if I wanted a job. And she worked for an ENT doctor. So that's how I got back into the medical field. Worked there for 10 years. And then I was hired back through the hospital. They were hiring on their first doctor under their umbrella, and she had actually come up from Miami, Florida, and she was the best OBGYN I've ever met, probably one of the smartest people. I'm not going to say her name, but I was hired in as her office manager, and that's what I did until my retirement.
Oh, okay.
So I was office manager. I did basically everything for her.
Okay.
Handled all her finances through the office. I did all of her billing, insurance billing. On days we saw patients, I would check people out, make sure they had their right appointments to go to, mammograms, ultrasounds, things like that. I did all of the surgical billing. I did all of the delivery billing. Handled all of her insurance issues, malpractice insurance, things like that. Did some labs back in the lab. So you basically do everything when you're an
Alright.
office manager. So that's what I retired doing, loved doing.
All right.
That was my job.
Number 4, if you could change what you did for a career, would you do it? Why or why not?
That's a tough one. If I could change what I did for a career, if I could change, I would probably have gone to college, but then we wouldn't have had your dad because, in those years we got married probably in our early 20s, most of us did. We had our families young, and therefore I could be a grandmother when I was young yet and still enjoy
Right.
my grandkids. Otherwise, I know a lot of people now working with OBGYN learned that a lot of kids that do go to college, they want to have their career, and they don't always start having children until they're 30 to 35, maybe sometimes up to 40. I knew I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I would change it or not, but probably back then if I would, I don't know. That's a good question. I always thought maybe I would go to school and be a beautician, but
Yeah.
because I love to do things like that. But with working at the hospital, I might have gone to be a respiratory therapist or some kind of a OT or something like that, like your mom does, occupational therapist.
Okay.
I think those are neat areas. I did work in cardiology for a while. Those first 5 years when I worked at the hospital, I did like that too. I was very involved with that. So maybe that's something I would have gone to school to do. But looking back, I really enjoyed what I did. We had a good group of girls to work with.
That's good.
So I don't think I would have changed anything really.
All right. It's just a lot to think about. For
It
sure.
is a lot to think about. I mean, and I know a lot of my girlfriends did not go to college either, and some of us always kind of regretted it, but then we always say, no, we wouldn't change a thing.
Yeah. Alrighty, number 5. Is there anything I need to try to avoid in those early adult years?
Try to avoid
Try to avoid. Yeah.
Drugs.
Yeah.
Too much
That's an easy
alcohol. To avoid hitting deer.
Yeah.
Avoid accidents.
That's hard in Ohio.
With you being my oldest grandchild, I want you to avoid a lot of things, a lot of
Yeah.
bad things, you know. I hit a deer, it was not fun. Not until I got older though, probably the last 5 years, you have to be an offensive driver. That's always my scare for my kids when they went out, and that's gonna be for you when you get your license.
Yeah.
You have to be a very defensive driver or whatever.
Mhm.
So, yeah, avoid being in bad crowds. You know that.
Yeah.
Being in
Right.
a bad area at the, wrong time.
Mm-hmm.
Just things like that. You're a smart kid though. You'll figure that
I'll try my best. What is the best thing about raising kids?
The best thing about raising kids?
Yes.
Just watching them become the awesome adults that they've become today. I'm very proud of all of them. From your dad being the oldest down to your Uncle Brad, who is the youngest, and the two
Mhm.
girls in between. I think they've all done so well in their lives. They're all very successful,
Oh yeah, definitely.
every one of them, and I'm very happy with just the good people that they've become. I can't be any more proud of them, so.
Good
that's the best
answer.
thing. Yes, thank you.
If you were under stress one day, and you came home, how would you manage to keep the house a happy environment? Pretty much.
Lots of deep breaths on the way home. That's what you
I
do.
can
You don't come
imagine that.
home, you don't wear your stress on your shoulders when you walk in the door. You just walk in, it's not about you, it's about the kids, it's about your husband. Every day is a good day. Once you get home, you just let it all go. You do not bring your stress home with you. That's not a good thing. And
Right.
especially not to unload it on your kids or your husband. Because
Yeah.
they don't, half the time they won't know what you're talking about anyway, so
Yeah.
save it for the next day at work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good thing to think about. Number 8. Did you ever struggle with work? If so, how did you push through it?
Struggle with work. The last years at work, since I did all the billing and everything with the doctor I worked for, the OBGYN, there were a lot of issues with insurance toward the end, and I just retired in May of this year.
Right.
I did early retirement actually. I have over 25 years, probably.
Someone is at the front
Over
door.
25 years in with Mercer Health. The last, I'd say 2 or 3 years, it was very hard working with insurance companies, especially a certain one. Insurance got to be a lot. There was a lot of overseas calls, not good connections. Sometimes I couldn't understand them. We couldn't understand them. insurance, they were hard to deal with. They still are. They refused to pay some claims, and you knew the claims were right. I've been doing it for probably insurance for a good 35 to 40 years. That was my struggle toward the end, and that's kind of why I took the early retirement too. Insurance was really taking its toll on me. Put it that way.
So it was a smart move, just retire
Yeah,
early.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I love the summer. I had my whole summer off. It was
That must
great.
have been nice.
It was very nice. Yes.
Alrighty, number 9. Is there anything in general you would change about your life?
Anything in general I would change about my life? Sometimes I always wondered if I was the best parent or mother that I could be to the kids,
Okay.
especially when we had the restaurant, because I feel like we lost 10 years with them. We had Uncle Brad, our youngest, while we
Yeah.
still had the restaurant, and then it was a couple years after that that we decided to sell it because it was just hard, and I felt like your dad and your 2 aunts who were in between. Sometimes I felt like they kind of got ousted a little bit because we were so.
Yeah.
I mean, we were open. Oh my gosh, almost 19 hours a day, 20 hours.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Were you guys always there?
a lot. We opened at 5:30 in the morning, and we had a 2:30 license, so we closed at 2:30 in the morning.
Oh wow.
So we did have somebody open up for us in the
Okay.
morning, and so that was nice.
Sounds like a lot of work.
It was a lot of work. It was a lot
Yeah.
of work. And we'd have to scrub, after 2:30 we'd get all the basketball crowds and the football crowds and wedding crowds. And so if they left at 2:30, we'd be there till 3:30 or 4 in the morning scrubbing the floors and cleaning up yet. So the only day we weren't open at 5:30 was on a Sunday.
What time did you guys open then?
On Sundays we opened at 9. So a
Still
little
not
bit
much of a
later.
difference.
Well, it was a big difference from 5:30.
Yeah.
So
You could probably
it was
definitely
like
tell.
sleeping in for everybody. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was good. Sundays were good. So, and that was usually my day off to be home with kids and get the laundry done and things like that.
Right.
So Sundays were good days.
Alright. Number 10, last question. What are your hobbies now that you are retired?
My hobbies are, well, like I said, I retired in May of this year, and I bought flowers. I went and got so many flowers because I love to plant flowers. I put flowers in the ground. I put flowers in 20 pots that
Jeez.
I have, and I loved it. I loved every minute of it. So this fall and this winter, I'm not sure what hobby I'm going to choose. And that wasn't my only hobby through the summer. I mean, I love to walk. We live right
Yeah.
across from the park, so I did a lot of walking.
That's nice.
If it was raining out, I'd go down and walk on the treadmill. I tried to stay in shape as much as I could. And this winter and this fall, I think I'm going to take up maybe doing some reading again. I used to read years ago, and now if
Yeah.
I would try to read, I'd probably fall asleep. But I might take up reading again. I like to do puzzles, crosswords, Sudoku, I think is
Oh,
how
I
you
hate
pronounce it. I
Sudoku.
love Sudoku.
Those are so
I
hard.
love it. I love them.
They're really hard for
And
me.
I was going to try to do that and some puzzles. We have tons of puzzles up in our closet, so I'm going to try to do some really cool puzzles too.
Sounds good.
But I like artsy things like that, puzzles. Just, I don't know, maybe I'll try sketching. I don't know.
Stuff that makes you
We'll
think.
see once. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it'll be good. Oh, and Christmas coming up. I've been doing a lot
Decorating.
of Christmas shopping and decorating. You know how we decorate.
Yeah. Takes
Inside
a lot
and
of
out.
time.
Yeah.
It definitely looks like it too.
Takes
Because
a
it
lot of
always looks
time.
super good.
It looks good. Looks kind of like it puked up Christmas in our house sometimes.
I never complain about
We
it.
love it. I know everybody else
It's
likes
pretty.
it. I feel like every year we do too much, but
Yeah,
yeah,
not really.
as long as we can, we will. So, and that's just to please all of our kids and grandkids when they come home. We
Yeah.
always try to make it fun. So,
It always is.
thank you.
Alright, so that's it.
Okay.
So thanks
Thank
for
you,
doing
Evan.
this.